What do you mean you're a dietitian and you recommend giving sugar to our children? It's always on a video like that where someone chimes in and says like, oh my gosh, how can you suggest that we give our children sugar? And like, all the video is trying to do is help you normalize foods that children are inevitably going to come into contact with so they can have a healthy relationship with them and deal with them in a healthy way. Now, a quick recap is that the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends no added sugars or sweeteners for children under 2. So, period. Fruit can still be considered a dessert, and you put that on the plate at the same time as everything else. Fast forward, and now your child is a little bit older and you're thinking, oh, well, like what about ice cream and what about candies and what about other things? Okay, so there is a difference nutritionally between something like a lollipop and something like a piece of dark chocolate. And I go into this in a lot more detail in my online course, Stress-Free Sweets and Each, which outlines the entire methodology of how you set up a successful mealtime with a child that does have a dessert, and how to explore the nuances of it. Like if they're asking for seconds and thirds and fourths and fifths and sixths. I'm going to give you my perspective on this as a mum of 2 and a pediatric dietitian who specializes in picky eaters. And that is, if I am giving my kids something sweet, sometimes it is something like an Easter chocolate or a candy that really doesn't have much nutrition to it, except, especially if it's a lollipop, it really is just sugar. At least like chocolate has something more to it. Not a ton, but something. Which is why I'll make it a priority to bake things with my kids where we can find a recipe and we can change the recipe. For most recipes, you can decrease the amount of sugar in it by usually about 1/3 without it having any impact on the final product in terms of taste and texture. I'm also a really big fan of finding recipes where you can add something like shredded apple to it, or some kind of vegetable where you're adding more fiber and more nutrients, and you're also at the same time teaching your child, without sitting down and telling them like you need to eat vegetables to be healthy, that you can incorporate vegetables that may not be a preferred food into something that actually turns out really delicious. Let me know what your thoughts are.